I'm going to paint you a visual picture of one of many political scandals that happened in July of this year. Things got heated when some angry little dude confronted a woman younger than his own daughter in the Capitol. This dude says, "You're out of your freaking mind for having a different opinion than me." And the woman says, "You're being kind of rude," which was honestly so aggressive of her. And then this angry man was walking away and is witnessed by a reporter and published in Politico, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and The Hill of July of 2020. This angry man, Senator Yoho, called the woman, Senator Ocasio-Cortez, and I quote, "a fucking bitch." The prevalence of the word bitch in politics is antiquated at best and sexist at worst. The general consensus is this: in order to take a woman's power away, call her a bitch. Vox on August 19th of 2020 explains that the term bitch soared as an insult directly after the women's suffrage movement, which honestly tracks, and used to describe women who were too lewd or too aggressive. It played on the same tropes as the anti-suffrage movement. And 100 years later, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is called a fucking bitch on the steps of the U.S. Capitol. And subsequently, Susan B. Anthony rolled over in her grave. And this is why today we will explore the problems, causes, and implications of the word bitch in politics. Did you know that if you search the phrase Hillary Clinton and bitch, it produces more than a dozen pages of results? The highlights including bitch, and my personal favorite, raging bitch. And now let's discuss the problem. First, the word bitch has been structured to dehumanize women. The origin of the word literally being female dog, and is cited in the 1811 edition of Vulgar Tongues Dictionary. I mean, come on, that joke writes itself. It was preferable to be called a whore than a bitch. The Atlantic of April 2015 explains that as early as the 15th century, men were using bitch to refer to women too. I mean, fuck AOC, Kelly Conway, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That one hurts a little. And yours truly have all at some time, somewhere, somehow, been called a bitch in their professional careers. AOC confirms the worst in her statement, adding, "This is not new, and that is the problem." Perception becomes our second problem, with Jessica Bennett writing for Cosmo in March of 2014 that even if the woman in question is confident enough to shrug off being called a bitch, the name-calling changes how everyone else perceives her. And for women in politics, a positive public image is, unfortunately, crucial. For a man, that doesn't really matter. I mean, come on, look at our presidential candidates. Corinne Anderson asked The Real in 1999 Journal of Rhetoric and Public Affair. 20 fucking years ago, 1999. How does a woman in a position of power cultivate an image of competence and leadership without being dismissed as a bitch? And to add, Rutgers August of 2020 reports that only 23% of U.S. representatives identify as female. It doesn't sound like half. And there's only 9 female governors today. That's not even trying to be half, and this word is being used to strip power from women in politics, therefore discouraging them from participating at all. This New York Times op-ed from October of 1992 reacted to the scandal plaguing Clinton before he even took office, and they didn't even know what the real scandal was, and they said, by what logic would it be scary rather than comforting for a president's wife to be unusually intelligent, knowledgeable, and competent? The answer? No logic at all. Let's talk about what caused this. First, there's no male equivalent for the word bitch. CNN August 2015 states that because the B word is exclusively a female privilege, it's one that sends the message to women that there's nothing you can do with your face or your clothes or your voice or your spare time that can't in some way be perceived as wrong. Ah, yes. What a privilege it is to be female and thus destined to be called a bitch. Meanwhile, the actual definition for the term bitch, a female dog, is traditionally highly loved and respected by men. I mean, come on, what the actual fuck? So because the term is uniquely harmful to women, remember that most women prefer whore, It means that it's been uniquely suited as a weapon for men to use. Our second cause is misogyny. In their 2009 analysis of the social harms of the word bitch, Dr. Cheryl Kleinman, Matthew Wiesel, and Corey Frost argue that in virtually every sector, sports, prisons, politics, and gender, the word bitch is meant to imply the domination of the other. Or more specifically, if you don't do what I say, I get to call you a bitch. And the previously cited Anderson advances that the word bitch is a tool for containment in modern politics. This word, deeply rooted in patriarchal society, does affect women in power because women in power are so incredibly rare. Kind of like a decent guy. But that damage is dangerous. Deborah Tannen, linguist and professor at Georgetown University, has written extensively on the Hillary factor and claims that serious women aren't taken seriously, and female leaders who don't exhibit traditional female behaviors are like Hillary. Damned if we do, damned if we don't, which causes most women to just simply don't. I mean, poor Hillary, although not everyone can say they've been called a bitch in 7 different languages. Let's talk about the implications. Look, we need to have a conversation about the word bitch. It's tough, it's weird, but we need to keep breaking this word down and understanding the power behind it and sharing our perspectives around the bright spots, the bummers, and the overall bewilderment about bitch. First, Jasmine Taylor Coleman of BBC in June of 2016 offers us this to contemplate. While female students often affectionately refer to their friends as bitchin' or bitches, the term bitchin' is commonly used by younger generations, and as in bitch can be used as a verb, meaning to whine or complain, or change it to biatch, and you can add humor or force. Where do we begin? It's either you're a bitch or you're my bitch. It's two sides of the same coin. The collective misunderstanding and inconsistent use of this word causes an inability to solve this communication conundrum. Second, the awareness being brought to the term has only further complicated the issue. The Girl Scouts of USA have teamed up with female leadership organization Lean In to promote Ban Bossy, a campaign encouraging girls to speak up and stand out. You can learn more about it on the website banbossy.com, or even share the hashtag, but do we want to? Arguably, the precursor to bitch is bossy, and that presents its own set of discursive complexities. Do we want to ban the word or embrace and reclaim it? Just as we have young girls sharing this hashtag on social media, we also have Lizzo, an empowering female artist, telling girls to boss up and change their life. And Nicki Minaj saying, I'm a boss ass bitch. And yes, bitch can be heard in queer and drag communities around the globe. And don't lie to me if I ask for a show of hands for how many people have called their friends bitches to empower them, or called someone a bitch behind their back. When viewed through a political lens, the power dynamics and cultural complexities of this complicated word become clearer. And the fight to keep these power dynamics in its patriarchal place becomes as desperate as Hillary's attempts to connect with American youth. Today we talked about the problems, causes, and implications associated with the word bitch in modern politics. On July 21st, 2020, AOC herself tweeted, hey, bitches get stuff done. So we still have a long way to fully understand this word. Its relation to females in power and its mysterious and sometimes hypocritical effects. But I'm here for the conversation, and I hope you will be too. Finally, I want to state that I'm a huge fan of Hillary Clinton, and I respect her very much. If I could have voted in 2016, I would have cast my vote for her. I just wish she'd smile a little more. You know? Thank you.